Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite low cap cryptos that are sure to provide some decent gains over the next couple months. These are cryptos that actually have a use case to some extent, a lot of them being more undervalued, being at low cap positions, have the potential of giving us a bigger ROI than simply buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, or even XRP. So for today's video, I'm going to break down what these cryptos are, what they mean for our profit moving forward, and how to go about trading them for the most profitability over these next few months. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, now before we jump into the altcoins for today's list, I did want to quickly talk about the price of Bitcoin because Bitcoin is looking very bullish. In my last video, what we talked about was that this is a potential for us to get one more higher high, and I talked about how at first I was originally thinking that this was going to be our top and we were going to correct back down to about $21,000. And then I started to reiterate myself and explain that, the way that the market structure looks, it's looking more bullish than it is bearish, like we are going to reject. And so far, we've actually seen more bullish momentum from that video, and I was right in my thesis that I explained. Most likely we're actually going to keep going up. Now, even though we got further consolidation from that video, in my video we were just right here, we did get some downside price action, but all dips have been bought up, and we're actually getting even more bullish continuation as the day rolls on. And so as it stands right now, I still believe that we are going to be breaking out. This doesn't look bearish by any means. Look at how we're holding on the super trend as it stands right now. We really have had any dip that has sold off closer towards this support has instantly got bought up. So there's no real reason to assume that this trend is going to be over. You never want to fight the trend. And that's one thing that will happen when the market really starts taking off. It gets very parabolic and overextended. Everybody's going to want to try and pick and call where the top is going to be. And we have to just wait for confirmation. At the end of the day, when we're watching inside of this consolidation, we never really had a confirmed breakdown because for the most part, we were holding support above this trend. Above our super trend, every single dip was instantly bought up, and that should be a big indication that says, hey, there's still buyers coming in, there's still plenty of buy support, and from that point, even though we got this big breakout, which ended up turning into a big wick on the higher time frames, I saw a lot of people that were calling for a top, and I was actually getting a little bit more bearish in this time. I'm not going to lie at all, but the fact is, as we've gotten further consolidation, as we've seen, every dip that has sold off onto this super trend has got bought up. What it's told me is that this is what's known as a test wick. Oftentimes when a market's in the very early stages of breaking out again, sometimes it can make these big pumps, and even though this would be known as an exhaustion candle on a bigger time frame and it would give us a reason to be shorting, oftentimes they can actually be kind of an indication that says that the market is actually going to be breaking out. And oftentimes when we see these wicks, it happens right when we start breaking out. And that's pretty much what we saw right here. If you notice, we had this descending resistance. We got this big pump that came in. It went all the way up to about $24,000, and then we pulled back. Now, nonetheless, every single one of our consolidations from this point was us outside of our descending resistance. We had this bear trap right here, but we pretty much closed right back onto support of this trend line. And so there was a lot of reasons that were dictating why we were ultimately going to be bullish. And so now that we get to a bigger time frame, let's remove our drawing tools real quick and let's talk about what we could see. Now, if you guys remember, what I was talking about was that this is our wave 1, this was our wave 3, and we're waiting for the top of our wave 5. I do believe that this will ultimately result in a top of our wave 5, but the question is, where will that line up? And as we're inside of this final wave 5 impulse, this thing can get overextended or it can be kind of short-lived. And so it's really hard to say. It's not like we have some crystal ball that's going to tell us the future. We only have what the market is going to give us. And the big thing I'm watching for is for a rally back up to our range highs that were met here over back in about August of last year. And so that's where I'm expecting that we're going to rally up to. But keep in mind, guys, that if there's enough buy support that we actually extend higher than that, we get a big move upwards of, maybe $27,000, which is definitely a possibility. We don't know how extended this 5 wave is going to get. And with us being inside of a wave 3, Wave 3s as a whole are oftentimes the most expansive Elliott wave impulse that we're going to see. And so there is variations to Elliott wave theory rules. We all understand that, but that's why I'm saying that I've always been out about telling us that we should be prepared beforehand, because if we get these type of moves that come in here, it's really important that we already had positions in place. And one thing I want to say, guys, is if you don't have positions in place, and as we're sitting at this resistance level, I always said that you're better off FOMO buying and getting at least some exposure than you are getting left behind in the entire process. And so I'm not going to go out and tell you guys to go out and buy outright, especially because of the fact we are so high. But the fact of the matter is these things can get overextended, and it's not like we have some crystal ball that's going to tell us exactly where the price is going to go. There's a lot of people, including myself, that are watching for somewhere around this high for us to reject, and then for us to actually get a deeper correction back down before continuing up. I see a lot of people talking about this, and oftentimes, as a rule that I've seen inside of the market, when a lot of people are talking about the same thing, it's less likely to actually play out in that way. And so I don't know exactly what's going to happen here, but we could see a very big impulse coming very soon because of the fact we are closing out our wave 3. Like I stated, wave 3s are often the biggest, and so if we do see a bigger move to the upside, let's say that we rally upwards of about 27,000, we might only end up getting our correction that takes us back down to our range highs of the August high. And I want you guys to just be aware of this. After our wave 5, once we actually get the completion of this 3-wave impulse, once that actually takes place, we could be looking at, instead of a correction all the way back down to about $20,000 to $21,000, we could be looking at us just simply flipping this entire consolidation from, basically August of last year. And if that's the case, that would be a very bullish move, but nonetheless, I think a lot of people would be missing out, because like I stated in my last video, I talked about the potential where we could actually come all the way back down in here. And so I just wanted to give you guys the awareness that if this move extends higher than what I was initially expecting, than what other people are initially expecting, we could be looking at a correction that only takes us back down to the August highs. And so, like I stated, guys, nobody's going to know for sure. We're going to have to just watch and see what the market does. But because of the fact this is going to be our top of our wave 3, which if we draw it in here, this is wave 1, this will be wave 3, and then we'll be expecting a 4-wave correction, right? Wherever our 4-wave takes us, it's going to be dictated upon how high this final impulse goes. So I just want you guys to be aware that if we extend higher than what I initially drew back here, understand that the best way to play this would be to buy the support and resistance flip of the August high. Now, guys, I have some altcoins that I wanted to share with you. These are going to be low cap altcoins, some that are, in my opinion, going to provide some of the bigger gains when we compare them against some of these other high cap cryptos. And so we're going to be talking about what these are, what they mean for us moving forward, and how to go about accumulating them in the right way. Now, first one on the list today is going to be Arbitrum. Now, this is actually broken out quite a bit from when I initially was getting ready to record this, and so I don't mean for this to, come at a late time. It's just the way that these markets move. This thing was sitting at about $1 million in total market cap, and so when you're sitting at that low of a market cap, it doesn't take very much money to get these things to really start rocketing up. Now, I posted this in my signals last night. I posted this because it looked like we had just broken out of this descending resistance, and that's exactly what we did. We were about right here when I gave the signal at the top of this move, which if I make this a little bit bigger and easier to see, we were sitting right here, and I talked about the potential that this looked like a big picture support and resistance flip and a breakout of descending resistance. And from that point, we've seen continuation. And so as it stands right now, we are rocketing upwards of our resistance. And so if we do see a correction in here, don't be alarmed by that by any means. I would use that as an opportunity to get in. But here's the thing, guys. I'm not trying to predict price all that much. What I was looking for was the fact that what Arbitrum is it's the very first dog coin on Arbitrum network. And if you guys don't know what Arbitrum is, I've tried to talk to you guys about it a little bit. We've mentioned a couple different altcoins that have actually performed very well. Arbitrum is a layer 2, and it's a bridge off of Ethereum. The problem with Ethereum is the gas fees. We know how slow it can get, how congested the network gets, and so I believe that a lot of money is going to be found inside of bridges, and specifically layer 2 cryptos that are taking money off of Ethereum and going into a layer 2. Arbitrum is the leader of this. Now, there isn't a token for Arbitrum, but everybody has speculated upon an airdrop that may happen. I've prepared by basically just using the Arbitrum train, and so if you guys want to look into that, there's a ton of different different threads on Twitter. If you go and search Arbitrum airdrop, you'll see a number of different profiles that have made these threads talking about how you can actually participate. Now, as it stands right now, because this is actually one of the first, well, the first dog coin on Arbitrum network, and because it's sitting at such a low market cap, I do believe that this can take off in a big way. Even though this thing is rocketing upwards of resistance and it's taken off a lot from my entry point, understand that that isn't necessarily a big reason not to get into this at all. It has taken off a little bit since I actually first bought this. And so be aware of that. From where my group actually bought this, it's sitting up almost double. So it's not the greatest entry point from where we got in. But nonetheless, guys, what we're sitting at here, if we zoom out, we're looking at still under $1 million in total market cap. It's actually only $815,000 of market cap. And so based off of that alone, I think that this thing can really take off. And so as I would say, the best way to accumulate this would be, either get exposure now, because like I stated, these things can take off a lot more than you're expecting. This thing could easily just rocket straight into all-time highs, flip them, and just keep going. And if you were somebody waiting for the potential of a dip like this, you might actually miss out entirely. And so I don't mean to get you guys to FOMO buy. That's obviously never the goal of this channel, and I'm going to be very transparent in saying I will not sell any of my tokens. I'm not using this as an opportunity to get out. I promise you guys that that is not what my intentions are. Anytime that I'm telling you guys of altcoins, I always am willing to hold through all of that period. I'm never going to be selling them onto you. I will never use you guys as exit liquidity, because I never have up to this point. One of the big things that influencers do, specifically YouTubers or people that have a lot of followers on Twitter, they will talk about a crypto, and they will talk about that crypto with the intention of using their followers as exit liquidity. I only have $500 that I put in down here, so it's not like it's that big of a position that I really care that much about using you guys as exit liquidity. I bought this with the intention of this breaking out and going into new all-time highs. So just be aware of that. As this thing takes off, we don't know how high it's going to go. It could have a pullback in here, but any pullback, I don't expect it to be very long-lived, because the market cap is so low as it stands right now. So this is the first one on the list. I think that this one has a lot more profit potential. A 10x from here would be $8 million in total market cap. Based off what I have seen meme coins do in years past, this thing could very much go up way more than that. We could be sitting at tens of millions of dollars in total market cap, and that's why I wanted to make this one number one on the list. Next up is going to be BFR. Now, Buffer token is actually a perpetual futures exchange, and so for anybody that's looking for something that's not so much a meme coin, but something that has real potential of, going up into multi-hundreds of millions of dollars in market cap, I'm not going to say that that's exactly what's going to happen, but if you're looking for something that has a lot more of a fundamental use case than just being a meme and everybody speculating on it, this is one of those that I think has real potential. Like I stated, it's a perpetual futures exchange, so anybody that wants to go leverage trade, anybody that wants to use perpetual swaps, this is going to be one, and this is another one that's actually built on Arbitrum. And so guys, if you want to actually buy any of these altcoins on Arbitrum, you guys got to remember that you have to bridge money from Ethereum over to Arbitrum, which you guys can search that by going to the Arbitrum bridge. And it will be right here based off of this link, which I will link inside of the description. And so if you do want to bridge, you can connect your MetaMask wallet. As long as you have money on ETH, you can use this to bridge. It takes 15 minutes to bridge whatever asset you want to do. And then from there, you can actually go about buying it in the same way that you would buy a normal token on Uniswap or SushiSwap or 1inch Exchange. All you have to do is have money and the network of Arbitrum added, and then you can actually go about using any of the normal swap platforms. And so with that being said, links will be in the description if you do want to go ahead and bridge money. But this is one that I do think has a lot of profit potential. As it stands right now, we've basically only had one consolidation period, and this wouldn't really be considered any sort of an impulse. As it stands right now, the way that I look at this chart, this looked like a one wave, this looked like the potential of a three wave, and it looks like we might be getting our wave 5 right now. And if that's the case, we could actually see a correction around these all-time highs before continuing up. And so I just want you guys to be aware of that. Where my group got in was basically 2.7 right here. So we're sitting up about 32%. It's not a huge gain by any means, but I always want to be transparent on where we got in so that you guys can make your own decisions. Like I stated, my intention is not to dump on you guys. My intention is to share with you guys good setups that look like they are going to be breaking out in a big way. And even if my wave count is wrong right here, we're sitting at $2.62 million in total market cap. Like I stated, with this being a perpetual futures exchange, this thing can actually go up into over $100 million in market cap. I would say that my target would be about $25 to $50 million in market cap, which would be a very big return. You know, at $2 million, if this does a 10x, you'd be sitting at $25 million in total market cap, which in my opinion would be a solid target to expect. With these, and being built on Arbitrum, I foresee Arbitrum being the big spotlight for DeFi, and specifically the layer 2 cryptos out there. And by getting in early to these cryptos at the very early part of the trend, this is where all of the money is going to be made, because we don't know how big some of these could get. Buffer token itself could actually be one of those exchanges that gets a large amount of adoption. I don't know by any means, and with us sitting at such a low market cap, it's impossible for me to even say. But if one of these decides to run upwards of $250 million in market cap, you're now at 100x returns. At $250 million in total market cap isn't that much, especially considering the fact if we look at what all of the top cryptos were at, really if we just look at what the screenshot was of the top cryptos back at our cycle top in November of 2021, you know, a lot of different cryptos were worth multi-hundreds of millions in total market cap. And with Arbitrum being that real big spotlight where I'm personally invested a decent amount of money, where I'm trading a lot of these altcoins, it doesn't necessarily take a big investment to be able to make a big return, which is why I'm talking about these now. If we're truly at the very beginning of the bull cycle, like I believe we are, we're going to see a lot more upward appreciation to be had from here. And so even though the market might look up, it might look like it's up a lot, and it might be up from where I initially bought this and told my group to buy it, we can still see these things run multiples and multiples higher from where they're at right now. Low caps, just because there's a price history, doesn't mean that price history really matters, especially if we're talking in terms of if this thing hits $100 to $200 million in total market cap, this won't even be viewable in the big picture on the macro scale. So this is one that I think you guys should check out. I'm going to link all of these in the description, so if you guys want to go check out the chart, you guys can actually find all of the information here. This will take you to the website, Telegram, the Twitter, the CoinGecko, how to add it to your MetaMask, their Discord server, Medium articles, all of that stuff. And so just be aware of that. Now, next one on the list today is going to be Bitcoin. And I think I might have mentioned this one in one of my last videos. And if I didn't, either way, this isn't actually built on Arbitrum. This is just on Ethereum. So if you guys don't want to bridge to Arbitrum, this is going to be one of those opportunities for you. Now, guys, if you ever want to follow these signals, make sure you guys join the signals. Now, if you guys ever want to see what I'm actually trading, where I'm posting these, every single one of these are in profit. Not a ton of profit from where I originally gave the signal and started my group, but if you guys want to be able to get early to all of these signals, all of the trades before I post them, you really need to sign up for my signal service, which is going to be linked inside of the description below. Now, with that being said, if you don't want to bridge to Arbitrum, this is going to be one that you can just swap based off of Ethereum's network. Now, I like this one because based off of a market cycle, we've broken from descending resistance. We have a very obvious trend that's building based off of the bullish trend. Higher highs and higher lows, and it looks like we're basically right on that same trend once again. Whether we go a little lower or whether this is the end of it right here, it doesn't really matter. This is setting up for a big wave because we did just make support and resistance flip. This was previous resistance. We just flipped it as support, and so I do believe that a bigger move is going to be coming from this. And this one's sitting at about $3.5 million in total market cap. That's a little bit higher than the other ones on the list today, but this one being built on Ethereum itself. Oftentimes Ethereum coins can actually run a little bit higher because there's a little bit easier access and the majority of the users are actually on Ethereum as a whole. Not too many people have bridged to Arbitrum, and so those other Arbitrum altcoins might take a little bit longer to get the big moves, but nonetheless, I still think all of these are good picks. If this one just goes to the all-time high, you're looking at about 1.5x returns, and I do believe that these are going to go a lot higher than that. And so it might take a few months, you know, it might take a little while. Our next move might only be us breaking those all-time highs, doing something like this, and then us consolidating for, you know, a long period of time before we get that next move. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but if that's the case, it pays to be in early because you have the conviction, you have the profit, you can pretty much just hold through that. It's not like you're buying at an all-time high, or even if we do actually go to an all-time high and correct back down, you can look at this as a big picture support and resistance flip, right? And so that's the way I like to play these markets. I like to get in early before any of the hype really sets in, and this is one that's only finished one market cycle, and it's just broken out from that market cycle. You can buy this on any of the normal swap protocols just off of using the Ethereum network, and so this is one called Bitcoin. Obviously this is a meme coin. I don't really think that it's going to be doing anything besides generating hype. The other one, Buffer Finance, is one that in my opinion has good fundamentals. Arbitrum ENU is obviously a meme coin in the same way Bitcoin is right here. This is Bitcoin. It's not the original Bitcoin. This is a meme coin. Just be aware of that. Now, next up on the list today is going to be Mummy Finance. Now, I did actually talk about this in one of my last videos. From that video, you know, we're sitting upwards of about 50, I would say 70%, because if I get into the shorter time frames, I'll tell you guys exactly where I posted the signal and gave the word on YouTube. We were right here. So we're sitting up at about 75% from that signal, and it's looking like this is going to be breaking out and going into price discovery. We already broke out of the all-time highs. We technically have retested those all-time highs as support based off of this wick right here. And so it's looking like this is most likely ready to go for the next impulse. The wave count to me looks like this. Wave 1, Wave 3, Wave 4, and it looks like we're still going to get one more impulse before this is over by any means. This is one that I already talked about in one of my prior YouTube videos, but it still looks to be setting up in a big way. We're sitting on support of those previous all-time highs, awaiting price discovery, which can get very parabolic depending on how impulsive it gets. Inside of a wave 5, based off of our Fibonacci, what we basically need to see this go to, if this is even a wave 3, we need to see this go to the 1618, which is going to be a target of about $5.75. If we can hit that, then that's a confirmed wave 3 impulse. And then from that point, we would still expect to see, this is wave 1, this would be wave 3, wave 4 correction, and then we would still have another wave 5 on the bigger picture. So this thing could easily rally upwards of $8 to $10, and it could go way higher than that. This one's only sitting at about $3.5 million in total market cap. I want to talk to you guys about this one because I did talk about this in a prior video, and it does look to be setting up in a big way. We're up a lot from that initial video. If you bought in from when I gave the word, you're up about 75% or so, and this thing still has tons of room to move. I'm actually staking mine because the staking APY is massive. I'm sure it's probably gone down from the point that I made my video and originally started staking, but last I checked it was sitting at about 79% APY. That's a huge amount. You know, it doesn't take very much money. You could double your portfolio in a year, assuming that the APY stays the same, which it oftentimes will fluctuate, so just be aware of that. But with this one being a fork of GMX on Phantom Network, I'm really bullish on Phantom. I believe that it's going to perform very well, and with this one being the first example of GMX, what we've seen is anytime a crypto has actually forked GMX and put it onto a different chain, it performs very well because GMX itself is one of the better performing altcoins inside of this current cycle. And so if that's going to be the case with GMX, I think that that's going to be the case with any hard fork that actually gets real adoption. And this one being the first hard fork on Phantom, and also the lead developer of Phantom already investing into this, I honestly think that this one's going to perform very well. We might get a little bit more consolidation. I wouldn't be surprised if we retested our highs once again before going up. But nonetheless, this is really us talking about this for the people that bought into this early on based off of one of my first videos that I talked about this. And so guys, these are the tokens on today's list. If you found value in this and you want to check these out, I'm going to link them in the description for you guys to go ahead and check them out. Do your own research at the end of the day. I can't be certain on what's going to happen. The one thing I will be certain on is the fact that I will not be selling any of my tokens, and I promise you guys that from the bottom of my heart. My ultimate goal is to see you guys profit, which is why I'm talking about these. I was open and aware. I was open and transparent on talking to you guys about where I bought these and how much I bought these. You know, I only have, at this point, I probably have about $1,000 worth of RBE now, and I'm just going to hold on to this one. I don't know what it's going to go to. I think that it could hit $10 million in market cap. Really, a 10x for me would be idealistic. And so this is one that I think still has upside potential. We're not even at $1 million in total market cap. BFF, or BFR I mean, is one that I think is going to be doing really well. It's up about 35% from where I originally gave the signal, but we just broke out and made a new all-time high. And us sitting at $2.5 million in total market cap, it still has tons of upward appreciation to go. This is going to be the better fundamental coin on the list aside from Mummy Finance, but this one's a lot more undervalued in my opinion based off of where it's sitting at. Nonetheless, they're all good picks, and if you're looking for one that's actually not on Arbitrum, you don't have to bridge it all, then come over here to Bitcoin. This is just a meme coin, keep in mind, links are going to be in the description for all of these, but these are some that I think are going to perform exceptionally well. So if you guys found value in this, make sure you do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. If you want to see where I'm posting these signals before I ever talk about them on YouTube, I always give the word to my VIPs first and foremost. We've honestly gotten into every single one of these. We're up about double on RBENO. We're sitting up about 35% profit on BFR. Bitcoin, we're not up that much. I'd say we're about 30% up. Yeah, about 30% up from the signal. And Mummy Finance, this one's actually up a lot. We bought this green line, so we're currently sitting up about 150%. So if you guys want to be able to get these signals early before I ever cover them on YouTube, you got to join my signals. Links are in the description to go ahead and sign up. It's a one-time fee, lifetime access. As long as I'm running the channel, as long as I'm trading and investing, even if I move on to stocks when crypto stops being profitable, you guys are always going to have full access to everything that I'm doing. You also have access to my chat room. So if you guys want to be able to chat with other VIPs, talk about different cryptos, share your own advice and input on the market, links are in the description to go ahead and sign up. I appreciate you guys, I love you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys make a lot of money over this next cycle, which is why I want to talk about these coins. I think that there's still a lot of profit potential nonetheless. A lot of people will fight me with this. They'll say, oh, you're just using your fans for exit liquidity, and I could not be more sincere when I say that I would never do that to you guys. I know there's a lot of influencers that do out there, but I can promise you I have never once done that before, and I never will do that ever, ever, ever. I want to see you guys profit. I would not be talking about these coins. I would not be talking about anything on my YouTube channel if it wasn't for the sincere goals of seeing you guys actually make profit. That's why I always do this. You guys can count on me. I'm going to be wrong about stuff. I'm wrong about stuff all the time. But at the end of the day, my ultimate goal, and with 100% sincerity, is to see you guys profit. Otherwise, I wouldn't be running this. But at the end of the day, I really want to see you guys make profit. And every single one of these, I've seen big accounts aping into them. I've seen people getting into these with the intention of them doing multiples, people that I know make good calls. And so at the very least, do your own research, look into these yourself, look for a dip if we get one. At the end of the day, I'm not trying to hold your hand and force you to do anything. I want to see you guys make profit, and these are just early trends that I see being very profitable. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for watching this video. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.